Well, guys, and just like that, Dragon Ball Super is over. And I know people are going to be quick to say, oh, it's not over. This is. Yeah. The movie this year is confirmed. It is a Dragon Ball Super movie. But on, the terms of, is there going to be another series or a continuation of like a Dragon Ball Super anime? Like, we don't know. Could be, maybe, sorta. We don't know exact info on anything besides that there will be a Dragon Ball Super movie. So for now, Dragon Ball Super is done. It is very sad. Episode 131, the final episode, I actually rather enjoyed. I really liked it. I was a crazy fan of the Future Trunks arc up until the ending, which completely lost me. And it does, hurt my enjoyment watching, parts of the Future Trunk arc now. It does. The Universal Survival arc, I started out with it very, very cautious and guarded. And as it went on and on, it was slowly winning me over. I was really enjoying the arc. I enjoyed some of the characters, Ultra Instinct, Kefla, Caulifla, Vegeta's character development, Kabe. A lot of things that were happening I really liked. And of course, Frieza, let me not forget Frieza. But once we got closer to the end and we knew Dragon Ball Super was going to end on episode 131, and, once it became episode 127, and there was still no end in sight for the fight, and all of these plot points, these plot threads that were opened up with Caulifla, Planet Sadala, Vegeta and Kabe, Android 17, Frieza, what the fuck was going to happen with Frieza? I became very nervous that this was going to be a repeat of what happened with the Trunks arc, where we were going to be building. They're going to hit a peak, and then they just speed rush through everything in 10 minutes, and everything is completely done and wrapped up in a shit way. But I would actually say that did not happen. Obviously, there's things that are kind of left, unexplained, but I don't know. I feel as though it could be setting up for the future. Just real quick, this is going to be a formal kind of review of episode 131. It's actually been 20 episodes since I've done one, but the last episode, I definitely got to make sure I do this here. Now, the one thing throughout, the Tournament of Power and the Universal Survival arc that was really exciting me was Frieza. I was never a big fan of Frieza. Frieza was always okay. He was cool back in the day, but, they brought him back. Trunks dominates him. They bring him back fucking again. Super Saiyan Blue vs. Golden Frieza was cool, but then they bring him back another fucking time. I was like, come on. But Frieza was incredible during the Tournament of Power. And, as it was going through before we got the announcement of Super ending, Frieza, I was loving. You could go back and check out some of my reviews of the early episodes of the Tournament of Power where I'm like, oh, what has Frieza got planned? What is he gonna do? And I would say the way it ended up turning out in the episode was fine. The only reason I say this, I probably would have been a little salty, but we do know for sure that Frieza is going to have a role in the Dragon Ball Super movie coming out in December of this year. So the way Frieza is left at the end of this episode does make sense for him to come back in during the movie and play some sort of role, especially when we saw the teaser for the movie. We know it involves Goku fighting some sort of Saiyan. I think it's a safe bet that was a Saiyan Goku is fighting, and it will explore unresolved things with Saiyans and Frieza, so Frieza will come back into the picture as well. So, we haven't yet reached, what the point is for Frieza's revival was. I don't know, maybe we did. Maybe it was literally just that moment, that the ending of, Goku and Frieza together taking down Jiren. We'll see. Let's just quick kind of go through a recap of the episode and hit on some things I really liked. So, the start of the episode was pretty good. Obviously, we had Frieza and 17 sort of doing battle with Jiren. Frieza was kind of fighting even with Jiren at a physical level, but his, mental attacks, talking shit to Jiren, pointing out that, his usual poker face is gone, and he's saying things like, I can almost hear your heart shrieking. The mental attacks Frieza was putting on Jiren were what was clearly doing the most damage. 17 flies in, and earlier in a previous episode, 17 had kind of gotten Jiren from behind with an energy blast, and that was the only visible damage we'd seen on Jiren for a long time, before obviously Goku finally mastered Ultra Instinct. But this time, 17 flies in, goes to do the same thing, and Jiren is like, no, fucker, that shit's not working again. That's not gonna work twice. And 17, like, just real sly, and he goes, same here. And he activates his barrier and explodes it inside of there. So, like, Android 17, I think many people would agree, like, has been one of the standout characters of the Tournament of Power. He went from before the Universal Survival arc, from being like an okay character back in the Android saga, to now, like, holy shit, like, he was clearly, like, the anchor of the like, the ace of the team, almost. Like, I guess that terminology would, befall on Goku, but, like, 17 did very good in the tournament. Now, that attack actually does prove to do some damage to Jiren, and it seems as though Jiren is done. Like, obviously, his fight with Ultra Instinct Goku has really tapped him out. Clearly, he is not, like, the same fighter before and after, because not only did Ultra Instinct Goku do, like, a lot of physical damage to him, but obviously, like, it did bring back all of his bad memories of the past, and, with what Frieza was saying, clearly Jiren did have some emotional issues going on. Now, Jiren kind of accepts his fate. Frieza's about to ring him out when Toppo basically kind of gives a speech and tells Jiren that he believes in him. And the words do seem to get to Jiren. I was actually okay with this. Like, it did feel like kind of a natural progression with, like, kind of the themes of the arc that they were going with, of trust and all of that. So I do felt as though it worked out very well. Jiren, like, gets this boost of power, pushes 17 and Frieza back, and it does seem as though he's going to overwhelm them when Goku kind of picks himself up off the ground, instant transmissions over, and helps push Jiren's blast alongside 17 and Frieza. Obviously, Goku was previously basically, like, KO'd. The mastered power of Ultra Instinct kind of took a toll on him, basically completely draining him of his energy. And even when he comes back over to 17 and Frieza, like, he does have, like, one eye half open. Like, you could tell that he is definitely at his limits, and even transforming into the Super Saiyan is quite taxing on him. And obviously it does show you how close to his limits he is, when at one point, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but he is kind of going in and out of Super Saiyan, showing that he doesn't even really have enough energy to keep that form active, even though Goku and Gohan did master Super Saiyan completely to where it does not cost them ki or anything to transform or power up. So the fact that he's not even able to hold the form does show the damage that Ultra Instinct did do on Goku's body. Now, Goku and Frieza kind of talk for a little bit, and, like, they kind of discuss, like, the whole trust and everything, and Goku says that, like, as long as you keep fighting with us, Frieza, work with us to, like, take Jiren down, like, I will keep my promise if you keep yours, you know this. So at this point, we get to basically the climax of the tournament. The animation here, absolutely impeccable. Both these final two episodes I have no complaints whatsoever for that. Goku and Frieza, like, charge Jiren, and it's just an amazing display of kind of back and forth, like, attacks between Goku, Frieza, Jiren, and Android 17 is kind of supporting them from the background with blasts. And eventually, at one point, Goku and Frieza are kind of falling, and Frieza says, like, throw me at him, and Goku kind of, like, basically volleyball serves Frieza towards Jiren, and Frieza basically does one of his techniques that he did on Namek, where he kind of, like, charges up his energy and flies straight at the opponent. Again, he did do this on Super Saiyan Goku in Namek, and that is one of his level 3 attacks in Dragon Ball FighterZ as well. Well, Frieza hits Jiren with this and knocks him basically to the bottom rubble of the Tournament of Power. Everyone in the stands is like, oh, Frieza is planning to take himself out and knock Jiren out as well. Well, Jiren still has too much energy, so he's able to resist it a bit. And then here's where Goku flies in, kind of transitioning in and out of Super Saiyan, not really able to maintain it fully. But Goku and Frieza basically flying together at Jiren are able to finally push him over the ring and defeat him. And as Jiren is basically falling out, he says, like, okay, so this is the power of trust. This is what Universe 7 has. And it is an awesome moment as Frieza and Goku are, like, both screaming, and there's a huge explosion, and all three of them are kind of ringed out. Like, it is definitely not what I was expecting, like, Goku and Frieza together working like that, but it was absolutely a fantastic moment. So after this, obviously Jiren was the final fighter of Universe 11. After being wrung out, obviously they begin to get erased by the Zeno-samas. Toppo, is showing that he does care about Jiren here, and does kind of say, like, hey, Jiren, like, thanks, you really fought hard for us. And Goku kind of shares a couple words with Jiren before him and Universe 11 are erased, and says, like, I had a great time fighting with you. I'm not done yet. I hope I get to meet you again. And Jiren does smile before they're finally erased. Now, after this, Android 17 is the only person remaining on the ring. So obviously Android 17 is the winner of the Tournament of Power, and he is the one who is chosen like as MVP. He is the one who gets the wish since he is the final remaining fighter. Sure enough, as we could have guessed, Android 17 wishes for all of the destroyed universes to be returned back to life. Now, one thing to possibly look forward to moving forward in Dragon Ball is the possibility of universes having been revived that were previously erased by Zeno-sama. This was mentioned, I believe, back in the Future Trunks arc by Whis and Beerus, that there were previously more universes, and they were actually erased by Zeno-sama. So, like, are those permanently, like, brought back as well? That is something that we will see in due time. We do get a shot of all the universes having been restored. We get to see Kabe mention, like, kind of like, yes, Master, you kept our promise. Caulifla runs up and tells Kabe, like, hey, it's time to work on our Super Saiyan 3 training. So that is one of the plot points that I guess they are kind of like, they did acknowledge it here. Like, Caulifla and Goku talked about Super Saiyan 3 so fucking much that they had to do something with it here. I'm glad they finally did. We do see Champa kind of look up to the stars and say, like, okay, like, I'm not going to thank you, brother, but, we know what he's really thinking. We get a shot of several of the other universes as well. We do get a scene of Jiren and Toppo kind of talking, and Jiren kind of saying, like, I will meet you again, Son Goku, like, next time that they're going to win. The Pride Troopers will be able to beat Universe 7. So it was a good moment. I did like kind of the character development of Jiren throughout the the finale of the Tournament of Power here, because it went from literally the most boring, like, character, like, just a bland killing machine, and towards the end, like, there were good moments, like, Jiren actually, was a fucking character, like, when he, like, was freaking out about being beat by Goku and shot a blast at the stands trying to kill Goku's friends. Like, that is, like, a real, like, stunning moment, like, actually development, rather than him just saying, like, you can't win, I'm strong, like, very boring. Like, I did like some of the stuff towards the end. Now, basically wrapping up what happens in the World of Void at the Tournament of Power Arena, basically Grand Priest mentions that the Zeno-samas predicted that the winner was going to revive all of the destroyed universes, and he actually says that if the winner did not do that, that the Zeno-samas were going to erase everything. So, I mean, that's interesting. A lot of people are saying that the whole arc is pointless because of this ending, but I don't know. I still did enjoy it, and at least there was something to be gained, kind of like the Zeno-samas kind of confirming that mortals can change and can improve, which, if you look at it kind of on the heels of the Future Trunks arc, and how Zamasu kind of thinks about, mortals, for, like, Zenos to kind of do this test, and, Universe 7 and Android 17 to kind of pass the Zenos test about mortals, I do think that works really well. Like, because for a while I was thinking that it would have been better had the Future Trunks arc actually follow the Tournament of Power arc, because you could have had, like, Zamasu, like, present at the Tournament of Power or something. But now I wonder as though, like, the Future Trunks arc, like, directly preceding the Tournament of Power here did actually make a lot of sense. Another thing that does happen is Frieza is actually resurrected by Whis just on the spot. So the Angels, like, I guess when you consider that they can rewind time, like, it's not that crazy that Whis could just instantly revive Frieza on the spot, but it does lead you to think, like, geez, I mean, the only character to really die in Dragon Ball Super, like, the Z Fighters, was Piccolo. Like, maybe my boy Whis could have just revived Piccolo at the scene during the Resurrection F arc? I don't know. But basically everything gets resolved. Frieza does mention that he is not going to stop, with his evil ways or stop being evil and all that. And Goku says, like, that's fine. I'll just defeat you next time. So that basically is kind of the wrap up of the series. We do get a final kind of series of scenes. We see several of the Z fighters basically in their, natural environments. One of the big things, obviously, is Android 17 does get his cruiser. One of the things everyone was hoping was going to happen did indeed happen. We also do see a scene of Frieza, basically, with a bunch of the Frieza soldiers, and mention that the Emperor has been revived. So the series does end with Frieza just being alive. And kind of the last scene that takes place is they're on a boat kind of celebrating with everyone. And Pan is kind of flying around and kind of flies into Vegeta and headbutts him and causes like a little bit of a bump. So after this, Vegeta and Goku actually begin doing some fighting in Super Saiyan Blue form. And it does appear as they head back to where they were originally in the Saiyan saga at the Wastelands. Oh, by the way, they're not on a boat. They're at Capsule Corporation. That's where they are. So they're at Capsule Corporation. Pan headbutts Vegeta, and then Vegeta kind of like points to Goku, like, let's take it outside, so to speak. And so they begin sparring as Super Saiyan Blue, and we're led to the final scene where they go back to the Wastelands where they had their original battle on Earth back in the Saiyan saga of Dragon Ball Z. And Vegeta does ask Goku, like, hey, where's Ultra Instinct? And Goku mentions that he can't use it as will. That just kind of, naturally came out when he was pushed to the edge at the tournament. And Vegeta kind of remarks like, okay, good shit. Then I'll just obtain an even greater power than that. And like the last shot we get, Vegeta and Goku kind of reset. They go into their iconic poses from that fight in Dragon Ball Z. Goku kind of leaning low with his one hand up in the air, and then Vegeta kind of standing like kind of still and then getting his hands up, that iconic pose. And then the last shot of the series, they fly at each other. And the narrator does mention, when a new enemy appears, Goku and his friends' adventures will begin again. Until then, a brief parting. See you all again. So I would say there's a fucking very high chance that we will get some sort of continuation of Goku and the gang besides the Dragon Ball Super movie, but obviously nothing is, written in stone. So that's kind of how everything ends. I'm definitely a fan of it all. Like, I actually thought, like, I was very concerned I was going to be walking out of this ending not liking it, and I actually rather did enjoy it. Like, I became emotional at several points, so, like, I would almost say this is the best, like, ending episode of any of the Dragon Ball series. So that's, really awesome, really exciting. Obviously, as a whole, I love Dragon Ball Super, and honestly, a new series could not come fast enough. I would say, continue support, buy the manga, buy official Dragon Ball merchandise. Hopefully a new Dragon Ball series will return at some point. But again, to close off, I did really like the episode. They resolved several of the key things that, like, I was kind of concerned would go unexplained, and that did make me feel a lot better about the arc as a whole. I would also say, without a shadow of a doubt, the Universal Survival arc was my favorite arc in Dragon Ball Super. I probably did like a few arcs in Dragon Ball Z better, but the Universal Survival arc, I definitely thought was very good and a big improvement from the Future Trunks arc. Maybe that will be, I could save extended thoughts on that for a separate kind of video. But regardless, thank y'all for watching. Episode 131 review done. And I'll catch you guys next time.